Well, after they handed down the indictments on Monday evening in Fulton County, Georgia, Donald Trump did what Donald Trump does and went completely ballistic. Not just on Truth Social, but also in an interview with Fox News Digital. Here is what Donald Trump had to say on Truth Social immediately following the release of the indictments. So the witch hunt continues. 19 people indicated tonight. 19 people indicated. I think he means indicted. Including the former president of the United States, me, by an out-of-control and very corrupt district attorney who campaigned and raised money on I Will Get Trump. And what about those indictment documents put out today, long before the grand jury even voted, and then quickly withdrawn? Sounds rigged to me. Why didn't they indict 2.5 years ago? Because they wanted to do it right in the middle of my political campaign. Witch hunt! So are you saying, Donald, that you should have been indicted 2.5 years ago? Like immediately following January 6th, basically, is when that would put that 2.5 years ago? That's when it should have happened? The reason it didn't happen 2.5 years ago, idiot, is because they had to actually do an investigation. Right? They had to do their due diligence. They had to get the evidence. They had to talk to the witnesses. They had to convene the special grand jury. Then after the special grand jury, they had to get the full grand jury. There's a whole process, right? We don't just willy-nilly go out there and charge people with things with no evidence and no investigation. That's not how the world works. They did the right thing. He didn't stop there. After he put out the post on Truth Social, he then, of course, sent out a fundraising email where he said, quote, "The fourth act of election interference on behalf of the Democrats in an attempt to keep the White House under Crooked Joe's control and jail his single greatest opponent of the 2024 election." It's actually in the Democratic Party's best interest to have you as the nominee. You, by the way, Donald, are the most beatable in a general election out of all the Republicans. Like, I'm pretty sure even the people whose names I can't even remember would fare better than you in a general election. So this is not political interference. Like, let's get that out of the way right now. Donald Trump is the most easily beatable Republican in a general election. So if they're trying to interfere with the election, they'd be indicting everybody but you, leaving only you. You're the one they want to run against. So all of your claims of election interference are completely backwards, because that's not how it works. Then, as I mentioned, he did an interview on Fox News Digital, where he had this to say. 19 people were indicted, and the whole world is laughing at the United States as they see how corrupt and horrible a place it has turned out to be under the leadership of crooked Joe Biden. This politically inspired indictment, which could have been brought close to 3 years ago, was tailored for placement right smack in the middle of my political campaign, where I am leading all Republicans by a lot and beating Joe Biden soundly in almost all polls. You're not beating Biden in any polls. There was that one outlier New York Times poll from 2 weeks ago that I mentioned at the time was probably an outlier, and apparently it was. That's the only one where you're even tied with him. If you look at the polling aggregates, you are in fact getting your ass kicked by him when you take all the polls together. So yeah, everything you're saying is untrue, but you're panicked, you're freaking out, so you're using your usual routes. You're going to Truth Social, you're going to fundraising emails, you're crying to Fox News, and none of that's going to help you. Because based on what these indictments have in them, you're pretty much screwed. One of today's video sponsors is Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using this silver-infused fabric inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors.
Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. And it's designed for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Now, I actually made the switch to Miracle Made bed sheets at the beginning of this year, and I couldn't be happier with this product. They keep me cool throughout the night, which means I'm getting better sleep because I'm not waking up all throughout the night from being too hot. You can try it yourself. Go to trymiracle.com/ROF to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code ROF at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/ROF and use the code ROF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/ROF to treat yourself.